Hello? Even apart, we can still be together.
Our house is not made to divide. Our house is made to bring people together. If we do not allow them to divide us up by race, by religion, by sexual orientation, by gender, by not allowing them to divide us up by whether or not we are born in Europe or whether we are immigrants or asylum seekers. When we vote together, black and white, queers and freaks, gays and straights, men, women and transgenders, when we party together and demand that this world works for all of us rather than the few, we will transform society. And that is what this house is about. It's bringing people together.
Greetings to everyone around the world. I am Jennifer Hopelezz, mother of the House of Hopelezz. It's an honor and a privilege to be your MC for the Global Village Virtual Showcase. Over the next hour, we will take you across the globe, a bit like in an aeroplane before Corona, as we treat you to performances from some very talented people. Plus, we will be talking to trailblazers making a huge difference in our community. So let's get this party started, shall we? Our first performance features a group from one of my most favorite cities in the world, San Francisco, California. There is something just so magical about this place, from bar hopping in the Castro to breathtaking views. I left my heart in San Francisco, and I also left my dignity there, but that's a story for another day. Here to perform Survivors from Unbreakable. Please give it up for the San Francisco Gay Men's Chorus.
Everybody
Let's head on over to Nairobi, which is on this girl's list of places to visit. Utena Youth Organization, SIDAREC and Slum Child Foundation have literally taken matters into their own hands by engaging children in how to reduce HIV transmission through puppetry.
Utena Youth Organization is a community-based organization that works in Nairobi, Kenya. We mostly want to promote health through the exploration of arts and dance.
I represent an organization known as Slums Information Development and Resource Centers. They are together, pulling our skills together seemed very viable, and it helped us to come up with a comprehensive project in terms of intervention on HIV and AIDS, directly targeting children in informal settlements living in Nairobi.
We are focusing on what we call behavior change communication in the areas of HIV and AIDS, and mostly we've been using performing art, for which puppetry is part of it.
Our target is children between the ages of 10 to youth of the age of 24. Through puppetry, we were able to create 2 characters.
Zoe.
Hi, how are you?
How are you doing today?
Fine.
Kids can relate with. It's easier for them to grasp, and it's also a memorable way to pass on the information to them.
What are some of the things you know about HIV and AIDS?
Zoe is a 10-year-old girl living in the informal settlements of Viwandani here in Nairobi. She's living with HIV, and Zoe's character is one of who does not understand what HIV means to them, and therefore needs further sensitization on not only for her to understand, but also for the people around her to understand.
George is also a teen. He's a 12-year-old boy who don't know whether he is HIV positive or negative because he has never gone for testing. So through these 2 characters, now we are able now to engage the kids so that the kids can now give out the information that they know are around HIV.
We have a WhatsApp program where we have chats on drug and alcohol abuse. We have counselors who are also on call, who are readily available to answer anything that they need to know about.
The success rate is very high, especially on the awareness bit. Actually, it's over 98% on the level of knowledge acquired. The issue of stigma is still big in Kenya. Still people stigmatize those who have HIV. There is that self-stigma. There's also the stigma from the society.
500,000 people living with HIV in Kenya out of 1.2 million, and most of them were children. We are highly engaging in sensitization of drug abuse and alcohol consumption, because that is the major cause of youth being reckless in their sexual behavior and ending up contracting HIV and AIDS.
You know, puppetry is a tool of engagement. So we need to train more youth so that they can engage other youth in and out of Nairobi, even out of Kenya.
We're so grateful to be a part of this. It's such a wonderful cause, and we are so committed to elevating it further.
In 1985, Thomas Muchimba Buttenschøn and his parents were diagnosed with HIV after his birth. Sadly, his parents passed away 9 years later from AIDS. Thomas turned to music and started the Muchimba Music Foundation. Now a leading voice in Danish pop, he hopes through his platform and the foundation to put an end to the epidemic in his native Zambia and beyond. I do have a thing for musicians. Is it me or is it just getting a bit hot in here? Here to perform Keep On Talking. Please put your hands together for Thomas Muchimba Buttenschøn.
Talk about Obama, talk about Pharrell, talk about Osama, talk about freedom, talk about justice, talk about Mandela, talk about Justin, talk about life, talk about death, talk Talk about the future, talk about the past. Talk about giving up, talk about giving in. Talk about loving you, talk about hating me. Talk about drinking, talk about smoking. Talk about laughing, talk about joking. Talk about the union, talk about the jacks. Talk about talking back. Cause people talking, the ghetto 5 a.m. It goes one more time so we say yo. People talking, from the ghetto to the government. Just keep on talking, keep on talking, keep on talking. Talk about gay guys, talk about hugging, talk about loving, talk about falling in love with the wrong man at the wrong time, in the wrong queue, in the wrong line. Talk about gender, talk about women, talk about judging, talk about forgiving, talk about drinking, talk about thinking, think about drinking, drink without thinking. Talk about politics, talk about government, talk about you and me, talk about something else, cause we're high. Yeah, we are. Oh, we are. It's high, y'all. Cause people talking, the ghetto at 5 a.m. It goes sing it one more time, y'all. People talking, from the ghetto to the government. Hey, the dirty government. Keep on talking, keep on talking. Talk about it. People talking, the ghetto at 5 a.m. At 5 a.m. So we keep on talking, get up to the government. Just keep on talking, keep on talking, keep on talking, keep on talking.
We're talking about the poor people living in the ghetto. We're talking about the places where poor people set up. We're talking about minority, authority, majority. Bibbidi by the way, talk about charity. Talking about the sweet life, faithfulness to one wife. How many men are working? How many women are waiting? Talking to talk, you have to talk, we have to talk, you have to talk. Talking about your status, ignorance and hatred. Keep on talking.
People talking, in the ghetto at 5 a.m. It goes
So me say keep on talking.
People talking, in the ghetto to the government. Just keep on talking, 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 keep on talking. The ghetto at 5 a.m.
Let's go, yeah. Let's go, yeah. Let's talk about it once again, yeah.
People talking, from the ghetto to the government. My people talking, keep on talking. My people talking, keep on talking, keep on talking. From the ghetto to the government, just keep on talking. Yeah, keep on talking, yeah, keep on talking. My people talking, from the ghetto to the government, just keep on talking, keep on talking, keep on talking, keep on talking.
My goodness.
And now we are traveling east to India. Kolkata Rista, a community organization, will treat us to a dance performance that will focus on discrimination encountered by transgender youth living with HIV. If you know me, you know I'm very sporty. I did set up the Drag Olympics here in Amsterdam, and I just love to dance. There are so many ways to keep the conversation going about stigma and LGBTQIAA+ discrimination. Everyone knows my big mouth, and I can't stop talking about it. After all, I am a drag activist. Next up, we visit America to discuss a one-act play called Dalliances that covers issues around HIV stigma and LGBT discrimination.
Should we now talk about post-exposure prophylaxis, genetic diversity of the virus, its ability to integrate irreversibly, how to improve one's immunity, and the possibility of an HIV vaccine? Well, Dalliances explores on a young man, Matayo, who has been in New York and finally travels back to Uganda, but he's hiding a secret. He's gay, and there's an LGBT law that calls for the death of gay people in the country. And then during this time, finds out he's HIV positive.
In America, getting HIV is sort of like tied into your sexual identity. But in Uganda, it's not really the case. Getting an HIV was one thing, being homosexual is another. Matayo has that duality and double obstacles that he actually needs to overcome.
It was as though I had been a crocodile, caged in the Sahara for a century, and finally the Nile had overflown and flooded over the shores and swept me into an overflowing Mediterranean. I'm thankful I had Dennis UEA on the project as a co-director, because taking myself away from my own story was challenging. I had to have someone else guide me and my performance.
I don't know how to tell him, but I think he needs to take an HIV test.
That's a conversation you should have with him.
I'm afraid he's going to blame me for it if he ever tests positive.
As a writer and director, this for me is a story that I felt needed to be told, but also told from a perspective of young people who have to endure not just the layer of discrimination living with HIV, but also layers of sexuality and identity and gender issues. The two of you sat down and prepared this little speech for me, huh? I'm a gay man myself, and this is the first time I'm coming out to the world with this issue. Even coming out and saying it is terrifying. Honestly, it is terrifying. But I'm also aware that I'm telling the truth, I'm telling my truth, and I'm tired of anybody else telling that truth for me. I'm not going to be afraid anymore.
I don't think we are already at the society that everybody can talk about it without any stigma tied to it. So to be mentally prepared to also address the mental health issue is extremely crucial.
How you treat a person dealing with HIV might be a second away from them committing suicide. How you treat them might be a minute away from them self-destructing, or a minute away from them taking the right step to getting treatment, to finding a community that can comfort them and support them.
I hope that the audience members can get away from this, take away from this project is that you equals you, undetectable equals untransmissible. And that's very, very important, because that if we all know this, eventually we can take away that stigma.
Dalliances has changed me in so many ways. First, that I've become more aware of what my role is as a person. I think I have finally found my calling, which is telling stories in advocacy, being an advocate for human rights, for health rights, for issues of gender and equality.
The journey itself is very, very scary, but we cannot overlook the fact that we have people that love us and they're always going to be there no matter what.
There's so many young people who are out there that can't speak for themselves, but also for young people in Uganda to know you are greater than anything you have been told. Your sexuality does not define you. You can go ahead to become greater. You can achieve greater things. You can be anything you want to be.
A little secret about me, I can't lip sync to save my life, let alone sing. But this girl can appreciate great music. Our next performers created a hip-hop song to help shine a spotlight on HIV with a message geared especially towards youth.
Molotovs for drinks, heads of states and plates, bullets in the sink, crazy on the wing, papers for the plate, traders on the brink, compromising space, calling people things, trading soul for rings, taking life away. Simpleton's description of struggle is slowly winning, teeming with prophesying, false indoctrines, foreign prophets, spin at the Colosseum, have you seen them? They taking all the women and the children.
Let's clap our hands for this beautiful princess. Masim Shailin is Adla just cause she's so prestigious. Talking high intelligence undercover, you feel me? Too fast, too furious, a female Bugatti, I'm telling you. This queen is so amazing. When we was in high school, back I got in the first team. Energy possessive in her mind is extreme. Dombazana so sweet, to combo the ice cream.
Of course you feel me now. Aluta continua. Aluta continua. Aluta continua. Scalene gani mama. Scalene come mama. Scalene pile we mama.
From the first day of school, all they do is brainwash you, take away identity, leave you with ego and cool, break my sense of self, trying to colonize my spirit, hide my culture up in shelves. They ain't dope and I ain't with it, so I fight it, kick it, whip it. I ain't trying to fit in, your boxes be too small for the essence of my being. Turn traditions into sin, ritualizing our customs, blinding us with fake freedom, misappropriate wherever I see them. I caught in and be bleeding, arms stretched out, begging for permission to belong, arms stretched out, begging your oppressor for healing, arms stretched out, begging for home to be home, arms stretched out. Yo, to all the prophets that be gone, still the struggle carries on, battles have been fought and won, blood is tried under the sun, streets are standing tall and grown, systematically gunning, my fire be burning, my light be brilliant and shining. Aluta continua, the liberation war and over.
Of course you feel me now. Aluta continua. Aluta continua. Aluta continua. Scalene gani mama. Scalene come mama. Scalene pile we mama.
I know it's difficult to be depression. We don't give it enough attention. We still envision a strong black family. Let me see a fist in ascension. I tell you of a social investment that bring relief and intervention. Designed by and for the people based on engagements and questions. I'm here to see in every clinic adolescent-friendly services where I can access psychologists. No my zangoma for what my hurting is. Young king, young queen, I wanna see you wake up to what your purpose is. Pagamani or dead words, we fall great, know what they say on the surfaces.
Cause you can hear me now. Of course you feel me now. Aluta continua. Aluta continua. Aluta continua. Scalene gani mama. Scalene come mama. Scalene pile we mama. We mama. Aluta continua.
The next big thing since Bowie and Queen, T and the Southern Time Band delivers powerful messages from overcoming HIV to surviving AIDS. And guess what? They are here to perform the debut of Lost in Love No More. T and the Southern Time Band, take it away.
I'm lost in love, shedding life I cannot shine. Let me be your precious tree that me souring light. Can't you see the casualty that you've made? I've made me. Lost in love, I'm lost in love. She's so pretty, I cannot touch, but maybe she will like me in heaven, or something closer to the ground, where I am under. God forbid I will be loved. Summertime, a long time ago, your roots first awakened my soul. You gave me a reason to live. Your beauty was my motive to give. Now maybe there's someone else to love who will reciprocate my love. I will not have to be such a pain. We will share in a love remain. Freedom, freedom lies within our souls. Cherishing boundaries protects our hearts from storms. I'm lost in love. She's so pretty. She's what I want. Though there's days when we must be strong, there is
Ragamenco is a collaboration of Spanish and Indian musicians, including 2 HIV research scientists from the Bay Area. They explore exciting new territory, combining haunting Indian melodies with exciting gypsy, flamenco, and jazz traditions from Spain. Oh, how I love those Spanish men. I'm going to grab myself a snack while you guys enjoy this fabulous performance. From a cappella to jazz, our next performers are a San Francisco-based jazz quartet, featuring a number of talented musicians that even includes an HIV researcher. Hey, scientists can be sexy too. You know, I once dated one. Please put your hands together for the Hard Bop Collective. So far, we have seen powerful messages about HIV through puppetry, a hip-hop song, dance, and theatre. We now head back to the stage. The Medea Project Theatre for Incarcerated Women HIV Circle is a performance workshop rooted in storytelling. The Medea Project was founded in 1989 at San Francisco County Jail, which encourages female inmates to examine their participation in their own incarceration.
While growing up, I thought a sister was someone you told your secrets to, you know? Your best friend? Not a stranger. Heartbroken. Years later in my life, I got pregnant, gave birth to my daughter, got turned on to drugs, and I got hooked. Heartbroken. I left my daughter at school all alone because I was too busy getting high. Heartbroken. I broke my own heart when I let a man do things to me that I really didn't want him to do. But you see, I was on drugs and he was supplying. I got pregnant. I had an abortion. He OD'd. Heartbroken. Then they say, I love you. But all they really want is a place to stay. Until the next thing come along, and he says, I do. Heartbroken. I'm at work. I get a call from my doctor. She says, your HIV test is positive. No, this cannot be. That was the last piece. But this heart of mine, I will put back together. One piece at a time.
Every mother loves their daughter, and I'm no different. Here's my granddaughter, Taka Taka.
Hi, Mama! We are halfway through 2020, a year that many of us will never forget for many reasons. Our house, the House of Hopelezz, is the oldest drug house in Holland, dedicated to fighting HIV stigma for a sex-positive society. We can do this as long as we remember one very important four-letter word, hope. H-O-P-E, hope.
Hello, I'm Simon. I'm 13 years old. I want to live in a world where there's no bullying. I want to live in a world where homo is not a swear word. I want to live in a world where two men can hold hands. I want to live in a world where all body types are accepted. I want to live in a world where refugees are welcome. I want to live in a world without AIDS. I want to live in a world with no transphobia. I want to live in a world which is colorblind. This is where I want to live, in a world of hope.
In 1978, the San Francisco Gay Men's Chorus was born, and so was I. Anyway, the Powerhouse vocal group has been making news from the very beginning. They are the world's first openly gay chorus. We saw them perform earlier, but now let's take a look at why they continue to hit high notes with audiences.
I was 35 when I came out. A huge mega church, wife and children. To say it was disruptive is an understatement. I found out within 1 year of coming out and literally having lost everything that there was such a thing as a gay choir. I was like, what? And I stayed at my first gay chorus in Dallas, Texas for 20 years as their conductor. And then 2 years after that, after I stepped down from that chorus, the job at San Francisco Gay Men's Chorus came open.
I started in the gay choral movement not long after Tim. It was about 10 years ago that I pivoted, and I had the opportunity to become the executive director of the Gay Men's Chorus in Los Angeles. I moved to San Francisco, and it's been 4 years at the San Francisco Gay Men's Chorus, which has been life-changing.
The San Francisco Gay Men's Chorus began in the fall of 1978. Things were really exploding in the gay world. The rainbow flag had been invented that summer. The first gay band marched in the Gay Pride Parade. And so the same guy that started, John Sims, put up flyers and said there's a Gay Men's Chorus going to start, and they had 100 people at the first rehearsal. Stepping forth with massive courage, 4 weeks into the rehearsals, was the candlelight vigil for Harvey Milk and Mayor Moscone. They went and sang on the steps for the first time, their 4th week of existence, first public performance. Being one of the epicenters, if not the epicenter, for the AIDS pandemic, the chorus responded immediately and full-heartedly to the pandemic, and much of what it did for the ensuing 15 to 20 years was centered around AIDS and its response.
The chorus is community. The chorus is family. It's a tribe. When you come out and you're rejected by either your family or your friends or an entire community, and you have nowhere to be, and need a brotherhood, that's what the chorus is.
It's a special privilege and responsibility that I bring as the artistic director of this chorus, being HIV positive myself. This chorus has led the way in so many ways in the fight against AIDS and HIV.
And the fact that this particular chorus creates some of the most spectacular music on the planet, I think, is just the icing.
Chris and I both believe, as do our 300 singers, that what we're doing with our professional lives, but with their volunteer time, is changing the world.
Back in October of 2010, we all may recall there were a rash of LGBTQ suicides. I think It's Better Project. It was a series of videos that were individuals sharing experiences of how life gets better. And this isn't a time to exit, it's a time to lean into your friends and your family and your life, and know that you're loved, and this may be a tough time, but it will pass. So we reached out to the It Gets Better Project and asked if they'd be interested in creating a musical around it.
I, and then along with Chris, worked on developing our own artists portal, our beautiful, beautiful circle at the National AIDS Memorial Grove. The tradition is that you go up and you say a name of someone you've lost and ring the chime, and the reverberation of that name will go out across the world in memory of those people. It's the greatest thing that I feel like we've done, because it's going to be lasting forever.
And another legacy that Tim and I and the entire San Francisco Gay Men's Chorus will leave behind is the country's first national LGBTQ Center for the Arts. We will bring in LGBTQ artists from around the world, really, where they can showcase their art.
I had a friend who is an activist who said, we've marched, we've printed pamphlets, we've sent emails, we've done all these things. I think it's time to sing.
Please give it up one last time for the San Francisco Gay Men's Chorus.